Done. Easy done. So, I'm assuming everyone here recognises Troy, if not from the brief, then from one of the 67 Got Talent series that he's done at some point. Yes. Are there any countries still on your wish list to do for that series?
Sorry, say again?
Are there any countries still on your wish list to go on the Got?
Well, believe it or not, Spain reached out not a few days ago. But with the world as it is right now, I don't know how international travel is working, so we'll have to see about that.
You were in Australia, what was it, 12 months ago? You were in Australia?
Yeah, it was actually about a year now. Wow, time flies.
It really does. How was that experience?
Oh, it was so much fun. It was my first time in Australia, actually, so I wish I stayed longer than I was. I think I was in transit, in flight, longer than I actually was in Australia, which is unfortunate. But I hope life brings you back there one day.
So do we, mate. So do we. If you ever find yourself in Adelaide, we'll bring you into a class straight away.
I love that.
So prior to jumping on television, be it on the Got Talent series or in one of the various Hollywood productions you've done, where did your contortion journey start?
Oh boy, I would say about like 3 years now, and it's calling a contortion journey is pretty strange because I was born flexible. It was just a thing I've always had. I haven't had any formal training, so to speak. I thought it was just the way my body was made, and I actually thought everyone had the same degree of flexibility when I was younger because it was so normal for me. And it was not until school, when all the other children started making fun of me for it, that I realized that something is off. But I was actually embarrassed by it, and I hid it. I didn't show anyone because people would say things like, "Oh, you're not human," or "You're an alien." And when you're a kid, that's like the worst thing you could say. You want to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
I wasn't until I think undergrad, no, well, high school, when I showed it off with an icebreaker. Like, go around the circle. What's your name? What do you do? And I was like, I do this. And then it was cool all of a sudden. And then to put myself through undergrad, through university, I think I worked at a theme park. When the rides would break down, or the lines were really long, we'd have to entertain the guests, and I would pull a whole bunch of shapes running up and down the lines. And it was fun until Halloween. And I realized that I could actually scare people with it. And that's where it all began.
Nice. So, I mean, you say you were running up and down the line, pulling shapes. Did you have a favourite shape that you enjoyed using to freak people out?
Well, what's most effective, I would say, is probably my signature move, crawling around upside down on all fours. It's really easy for me, but it seems to really creep some people out, and I can do it very easily, and I can go very fast. So, and if that doesn't get them jumping while upside down, definitely does.
That's a skill. I reckon it took me almost a year to walk in a bridge. Jumping is something I've not even attempted yet.
Try it. You might like it.
Maybe. By the end of tonight, if I'm feeling particularly brave and drunk, I'll give it a go.
I'd like to see that.
All right, done. We'll just before 9 o'clock, just before we log off. So after you started at the Halloween doing Halloween shows, you were saying, how did that then transition into landing a television career?
Okay. Well, I guess you could say the theme park is where I developed my scary contortion, so to speak, because contortion is usually very beautiful, very elegant, and interesting to look at, but it's kind of slow. You're pulling nice shapes, like look at this, and now look at this. My legs are on my head, and that was just not. I didn't have training for that. I just bent it to weird shapes, and my goal was to make as many people run and scream and run away from me as quick as possible. So it became dynamic shapes, and I think a person there took a video and then reached out to me years later after I well graduated and was working my adult job doing human resources. I'm a responsible, productive member of society, and said, "Hey, show me something cool." And I think he filmed a 30-second clip of me just fooling around the office, and he put it online, and it went viral, uh, which was new for me. I didn't even have an Instagram really. I had a Facebook where my most popular post was "I'm reading in the park," and things really blew off from there. I was getting phone calls and requests, and I didn't know how to handle it. What is this? But it really took off from there.
I hit that point eventually where you went, maybe I do need an agent.
Well, I still have no real idea what I'm doing when it comes to, I shouldn't say that. But without an agent, I think I would probably be floundering because I have no training for this. What do you do? So he handles all the paperwork stuff and flights and stuff that I can't wrap my head around. But I get to go on TV sometimes and do some really cool stuff, which I still can't believe is my life. Wow, I really thought I'd be behind the desk for the next 30 years.
Thank you. That's brilliant, mate. Brilliant. So, you've done a number of it would be fair to say quite big and quite prestigious both filmed and television series. Do you want to quickly run us down the shortlist? Run us down the IMDb list?
Okay. For the Got Talents, I've done America, Italy, Australia, China, which was called World's Got Talent, and France. I performed with another contortionist in Toronto, as Holdenmoser, at Cirque de Mai and the Chinese International Circus Festival 2019. We also appeared on France's Got Talent together, where we got the golden buzzer, which is exciting, but also frightening because I speak very, very poor French, and I had to go on TV and showcase my lack of French. For TV, I have been, I guess the high caliber moves have been Hellboy, the reboot of last year, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark with Guillermo del Toro, Shadowhunters, Channel Zero. It's hard because a lot of things haven't come out yet, so I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say. And I'm missing one, aren't I? Nope, Hellboy, Channel Zero, and Scary Stories have probably been the big three.
Okay. I know The Flash, one of our members was very excited about. And also The Strain, I believe I saw you in.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
So when you're performing, be it on screen or on stage, but we'll sort of bear it back towards the stage side of things. What for you? What's the experience like for you? Sort of looking out into a crowd of audiences. Do you tend to prefer? Now, obviously, going for the scary stuff, I imagine you're going more for the than the ooh. But what's that experience typically like for you?
Pretty terrifying, actually. I was not a. I wasn't in drama club. Not natural, the natural actor wants to be on stage, wants to be in front of all these people. It kind of just happened after the viral video. People were like, "Who is that? Get him on stage, get him in front of the camera." And I was there just like, "Oh no, please, who are you?" But I think one of my friends asked, okay, suddenly I'm an actor now. What do I do? How do I do this? Fake it till you make it. So I go on stage and pretend, I can do this. I am perfectly normal and at home in front of all these cameras and all these people, and I'm just going to do the thing, and then I'm going to go home and crawl to a ball later and think about all the things that could have gone wrong or that possibly wrong. It's still pretty frightening.
What was sort of the process for you putting together your signature act?
Well, to be honest, I think the first thing I did, even before when we got talents, was I went to New York and I performed in front of Steve Harvey at the Apollo. He does Family Feud. It's a big show in the States. And at that time I was still working in the office, and they brought me up and said, "Okay, we don't know what you're going to do," because they wanted to surprise him. Just go on stage, and we're going to put you in this, office suit. So I was wearing, suit. I think they got rid of the tie and whatnot, and they had me change out of that on stage, which looked weird because all the audience members were like, "What's he doing? He's taking off his clothes," and improvise, fly by the seat of your pants. And I think I went right back into theme park mode where I was okay, gonna scare Steve Harvey who's on stage because that's the only thing I know how to do. And I think the act kind of developed from there. I realized what gets the biggest reaction from the audience is where the really dynamic moves, really fast moves. I've tried experimenting with some cool new shapes, but I'm finding out that it's the all solid three that really work very well. The crawling, the jumping, and the there's a cool twist I do, I guess. It's like a bridge, but twisting. So your feet are facing this way, but your arms are facing this way, and your spine is twisted about 180 degrees, like that.
Nice, brilliant. And that move looks truly, I mean, and I say this as someone who's been practicing contortion for 10 years, terrifying.
Ah.
It's one of those moves where you go, I can bridge, I can twist. Can I combine them? Yes. But you were saying your 9 to 5 used to be a desk job, in essence.
Yes, human resources.
Human resources, which is very important, albeit not as exciting as contortion, although I'm sure it had its days. Speaking to someone who also spends 9 hours hunched over a desk like this, do you find it impacts your ability to stretch and perform at all, or do you tend to bounce back pretty quickly then?
Well, now, before it was like a cool part of the trick, but now I almost wish that I got into this 10 years ago when I was fresh and even more flexible, because I realized as I'm getting older, oh, things pop when I move now. But no, luckily it doesn't hurt. It's still pretty easy and fine for me. But I do realize I'm not 18 anymore. I also kind of wish I had that circus contortion training, so I might have learned things or the proper way of doing things when I was younger or more formative. Because when I was working with my contortion partner X, I realized that they had a whole bag of tricks that I could imitate, but couldn't quite do the same because I didn't learn them the same. So I had my version of those, which works when you're supposed to be a scary monster because you're not supposed to be elegant and flowing with lines that go on for days. You're supposed to be bent and crooked and jagged, and it works. But it's kind of cheating because if I was supposed to try and make those wonderful lines, you would see what my shortcomings are. But everyone has a style.
Oh, of course. I'm sure every time you're on stage, you can just imagine trainers across the world looking at you going, So when you do train in your own time, what does a typical training session look like for you?
Well, when I first started, I was okay, warming up. What is that? Let's not do it. And I would just do what I do. And after doing a circus show for days and days and days on end, your body starts to disagree with that, saying, no, let's actually stretch and warm up properly before we go on stage. But it's improvised because I kind of look at my contortion partner and do what they do because they had a whole hour-long warm-up routine. But it's for me, it's still really simple. It's splits, it's back warm-ups, it's shoulder warm-ups, and wrist stuff, which at the time I thought, no, that's not really fun. Let's just get into it. But it's a whole world of difference when you do before and after. I think it's called post-conditioning, contortion conditioning. But I have just woken up, really, and I'm as flexible as a bar of rebar at the moment, so I think it'd be really embarrassing to try and show you a warm-up routine right now.
That's right. Yeah, feel free to talk us through anything that you want to show off, and we'll do our best to fail at imitation.
All right. What have we got? For warming up? God, I guess. I don't even know if I can be seen here. You might hear everything popping right now. That's just what happens when you are no longer 21 or so.
I feel like there's an act in there. Just get a bodysuit and attach hundreds of microphones to it. So as you bend over, you're just constantly hearing the pops.
Well, I was one of the big TV shows. I missed The Flash, of course. On The Flash, I play a supervillain whose superpower is extreme flexibility. And he's gross because every time he moves, you hear bones snapping and cracking. They really amplify that effect to good effect, I would say. Even for me watching it, it's just like, I'm doing that and I'm still grossed out. How about you? How do you warm up?
How do I warm up? I usually for about 2.5 hours because I unfortunately don't have the natural flexibility, and so I stand at the top, work my way down. So neck, shoulders, upper back, lower back, finally hips. If I'm in a particularly charitable mood, sometimes my ankles, well, they tend to give those the skip.
I'm on the permanent quest to awaken my upper back. That just doesn't ever seem to want to get there. No,
it really doesn't. Even on some of the best contortionists, it's all here. From up, there's nothing.
And I've learned that I overcompensate, with the most flexible area when really it should be the whole spine working together in flexible harmony. Still working on that.
So for everyone else who's listening, I was saying before, this is a two-way chat. So by all means, feel free to chime in if you have any questions or any comments. This is your chance. Make yourself known. Say hi.
Yeah, you pretty much lost me the first time you spoke. You said you were born that way, and I wasn't. So I'm out, guys.
How do you do that folding and then not get hurt? Because I saw one of your videos.
I tried to break that down once because it was something that I just kind of did. And I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. And then I tried to show someone and do it in slow motion, and I couldn't. I think, okay. Where does it come from? I was trying to break it down. Oh, you probably can't see me anymore, can you?
We can see you. We can see you.
So it starts, I guess, with knees. Oh, because I have knees that do really weird things. They go backwards. Okay, so I make my knees go backwards.
Oh my God.
And then the back just follows.
Oh my God. Whoa. So cool.
Not that that helps very well, but yes, knees backwards and then the rest follows.
Oh.
I feel like I can do the first half of that reasonably easily. Hang on, let's just see if I can. Anyone else?
Can you show us your jumping back bend?
Oh, sure. Let me move the camera back a little bit. Okay. And I'm wearing socks, and I will slip and hurt myself. So that's what it does. That's happened before. Yep. And then it's just a matter of.
That's becoming a game.
I've learned actually that's a lot. It comes from the legs. So if you've got strong legs, maybe you can do. It's like you're just jumping normally, but you're still in a back bend. I broke it down one day. It is possible. You can do it too, Christian.
Right. See if I've warmed up enough for this. Anyone else who wants to give it a go, I'm going to switch this back to gallery view so I can get you. Yeah. There you go. There's one.
Hey, Sarah's good.
I'm scared.
Oh my God, it actually does come from the
Don't
leg.
jump on me.
I want to give another go.
Touch hands. Legs out. I'm okay.
But your arms aren't supposed to go down at the end.
Oh, you actually did it. Oh, that is so cool.
London.
Hey, Sarah.
Let's go.
Okay. Not getting the same height that you did, but
Go, Christian. Where?
yeah,
Brandon,
Bob.
where's yours?
Oh, I lost you there. It cut away.
I'll send you the recording later.
How do you feel?
Yeah, good.
Good. After a 5-minute routine, though, it really does tire you out. So you do that, but then you also put on a full body rubber suit and then do take after take after take and try not to die. Yes, that's my average day.
Try not to die. That's the advice of the century right there.
Roy, can I ask a curious question? It's not really about contortion, but I'm just really curious, like, have you had a physio assessment? And I'm just really curious about, because like my physio freaks out about contortion, and I'm just curious about the responses you might have had.
It's curious because when it comes to physio, my contortion who I perform with, works with Dr. John Crane, physio, circus physio. And most physiotherapists will say, oh, that is a thing that you should not do because you will wear your body out, and no, don't do that. But when it comes to contortion, which is either your lifelong passion or even a career for some, it's almost like being told, oh, don't dance or don't run. There are ways, I think the human body is meant to move. And for me at least, because it doesn't hurt. I know a few people have asked about EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I haven't been formally diagnosed, but I think I score pretty well on the baby scale. It's personal. To me, I know my limits. I don't push them. If something hurts, I don't do it. And so far, that's been working out pretty well for me. I haven't had a full-on physio assessment, though, where someone has said, oh, this is why you can do what you can do. I just consider it my own preternatural flexibility.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
So, So I wanted to know, because you are naturally flexible, do you have to train on strength, or are you strong as well?
I should. I know the contortion is a lot of flexibility and strength, and I am lacking on strength. I realize that every time I try to do handstands, because I'm wobbly noodle, and I need the strength to do straight handstands or presses, and part of me said, you should work on strength a bit more. And I'll go for 2 or 3 weeks of doing push-ups every day, and I feel like, oh, this is great. I can hold these positions longer. This is awesome. And then I fall off the wagon and slip up on my strength training. But no, I definitely, like as you can see here, I'm trying to keep my body weight exercises going. I've just, especially now that I travel all the time, it's hard to stay in routine. There was a time when I was working at the office where I was in the gym every day and I was seeing results, and it was awesome. But when you're on a plane for 8 hours, or you're living in a hotel room, or you're doing all these talent shows, it's hard to say, 5 o'clock, got to get to the gym, got exercising, and I'm trying to be better on that. Strength and flexibility, key.
Anyone else? No, they're all too starstruck. All right. Well, seeing as we've been warming up the last hour. You seem to be, quite good about showing off moves. Talk us through this twist.
I only caught the end of that. Sorry.
I said, talk us through your twist.
Oh, talk us through my twists. Oh dear, I don't even know where to begin on that. Sorry, I'm still waking up here. Give me an example.
Sorry?
Give me
So
an example.
the main twist you were talking about before, so the bridge twist?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Sort of,
That one is, I think that one actually I just did in the spur of the moment, but you were in a bridge, and then, depending on how you want to go about it, you turn all the way over. If you want, you can go down, you can go up. Walking is a thing, but it looks really, really weird. So I don't generally do it.
They say walking like that's a right brain melt.
I'm realizing that I just woke up an hour ago, and I should not be doing that. But no worries.
Go on, Sarah.
I don't think I've got
That one I would say don't try if you are not comfortable with. Fine torque and flexion. I would hate to.
like that. Oh, you like that? Twist. I'm twisted. Twist. More. Sorry. Move.
Oh. But on seeing someone else do it, I can see why the reactions are the way they are. Oh, it looks frightening.
We tried. I'm gonna learn that. I'm totally gonna learn that.
And then when you're really warmed up, you can jump into the twist. So it's like, no, not doing that now. But you basically go from bridge, jump and land, and jump and land the other way. But that is a fully warmed up thing to be attempting. I wouldn't suggest you try it.
Not tonight, in my own time. When the insurance doesn't have to kick in if everything goes wrong.
I want to try that. That sounds like fun.
The jumping. Make sure your mum's there to spot you.
Okay.
So, I mean, you were saying before you were watching us do it and you were thinking to yourself, I can see why people have this gross down reaction. Have you ever looked at your own acts and thought to yourself, ooh, I did that?
Well, that's the story of how I actually first injured myself doing contortion ever. Because I saw my contortion partner S doing a chest stand and I thought, oh, that looks really cool. I want to try that. I've never warmed up a day in my life. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And at the time, I did do it. But the next day I thought, what is this? Back pain. That's new. It's okay, I'll just go to sleep and it'll fix itself because I've never had this before. But every time I hurt, I just sleep and it feels better. But it didn't feel better for like a month. So that's when I learned that you don't just throw yourself into new tricks without having properly warmed up and practiced and have the right form for it, because that's how you injure yourself.
And that is a cautionary tale for the ages, peeps.
I'm glad it was not much worse. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into about 9 o'clock here. Again, if anyone else wants to chime in.
Late for you. I'm so sorry.
But no, you're not keeping it. This is our usual finish time. So you've done, actually that's timed in really, really nicely. Anyone else? Now's your chance to chime in. Anyone happy?
Double jointed, because when you're doing the back bend, you start in this position and then you go up and you're in a back bend.
Yeah, there you go. Like the formal training thing I don't have. I know the proper way to set this, but I just do it the way I feel comfortable. And I don't think being double jointed is a thing. I've heard of it, but okay. Yeah, hypermobility. I'm not actually dislocating, but there's definitely something going on there. There is some sort of shoulder thing happening. It's the same way I can go from the back all the way forward.
Yeah.
You probably can't do that. That's a thing I don't think can be trained, actually. I know some people can do it with a towel, but I think that was definitely something I was always able to do. And people who I haven't been able to trained to do. It's natural movement, maybe natural.
So you haven't trained dislocations in the past?
I know the style. A lot of my African contortionist friends, they do both. They contort, but they also dance, and they have it all over their style, breaking and popping, way more than I can do. I can't dance to save my life, actually. But they would do things that make my head spin. They literally spin their heads. It looks like 180, which that's frightening to me. I can do that with CG.
Yeah. And a lot of painkillers afterwards.
No, I've
So,
got a small portrait.
Putting aside the various NDAs I'm sure you've signed, what's next for you? Once we get routine.
Well, I had a few film projects upcoming, but they've all been halted because of the pandemic. But I am learning a new skill for a new film, which is neat. So I'm finally not going to be this scary monster. I'm going to be a normal human who contorts, but also does other things, which is because I love doing new things, I love learning new things. But right after that, I'm going right back to being scary possessed woman, scary ghost, scary beast creature. There's kind of a theme going on there, but I like it.
So is it possible that one day we will see you performing a beauty contortion routine?
Well, okay, for the final of France's Got Talent, S and I both said, okay, we're going to do something very pretty, nice, very elegant, with like blowing snow and silks. So if you search up a France's Got Talent finale of Troy and S, you'll see something prettier. But for the most point, I think I've kind of carved out my niche as different because, well, I think there's room for all sorts of contortion, right? And I know there's some amazing contortionists who fit into boxes and stack into pyramids on top of each other. Mongolian contortion is very slow and beautiful, but that is not quite me. So I'm going to stick with creepy crawly, super fast contortion. At least for now.
That's brilliant, mate, and you are absolutely fantastic at it. So we wouldn't have it any other way. So for those,
I've got one more for you.
Go on, Pete.
Yep. How did you get involved in all the Got Talent series? Did they all call you in to be a part of it in different countries, or are there rules around who can audition in different countries and that sort of thing?
When America first called, that was my first question. I said, wait, actually, I'm Canadian. Can I do this show? Isn't that going to be a big scandal? And then I realized it's quite a circuit. A lot of people perform on one Got Talent, make the Got Talent circuit. I was actually supposed to perform in Tbilisi, Georgia for Georgia's Got Talent. I got there, and the day I got there, everything closed because of the pandemic, so I didn't actually get to perform. But I've met a bunch of people. Another performer who was in Australia as well, Alex Nagala. We've traveled around the world together doing a whole bunch of different talent shows. We went to China, we went to Tbilisi, we were supposed to go to Germany. He went to Germany, I did not. I went to Italy. And then, they've headhunted, they scout you out, they look for cool, interesting talent, and they bring you on.
Cool.
S and I were supposed to go to Australia, but it didn't work out, and only I could go.
Did you get to try the food in Georgia?
I wish I ate more food. I got there, I was in Australia for maybe about 18 hours, and 15 of them were spent in a tiny room. So I think I had Pizza Hut, and that was it. And it was very disappointing. I wanted to try, I wanted to see, I wanted the full tour experience. I wanted to be the annoying guy who wanted to see the koalas, the kangaroos. I wanted to eat the marmite. I wanted all of that, and I didn't get any of it, and I'm very disappointed. I got to make my own fairy bread at home, but it's not the same.
Yeah, Georgian food's really good. It's a pity you didn't really get to try it. I haven't been there myself, but in Russia, it's bigger than
Sorry,
Russia.
you said Georgian food. I thought you said Australian. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I did try Georgian food. I tried khachapuri. It was amazing. They are really big into the meats and cheeses, and I love cheese. So, Yes, I had a lot of good food. It was amazing, and the people were really nice too.
Worth the trip then, eh? Once this all dies down.
Say again?
Once this whole coronavirus thing dies down, it's worth a trip over to Georgia then?
I would say so. Yeah, to Tbilisi for sure.
Cool.
I stayed in, I think, the old part of town, and it's just so old Europe. It's so far removed from what we have here in North America. I would go back again in a heartbeat.
Speaking as a former Englishman now living in Australia, you won't find much Marmite down here, but you will love the Vegemite.
Okay, I haven't tried it. I've heard it can be pretty polarizing.
Look, it depends whether or not you get a bastard Aussie who tries to put you through the initiation and gives you a heap spoon, or if you get someone who cares about you enjoying your experience and gives you a bread with about half a teaspoon's worth.
Oh, is that all it takes? Okay.
Don't give it away, Christian. Let him be initiated.
Oh, no, now I'm scared.
I mean, look, you can still willingly do an initiation. You're not locked out of that. It's just a hit teaspoon straight in the mouth, and then we get to film your reaction and put it on YouTube. So, probably get more hits than any of your contortion videos.
I wanted to ask you guys, how did your contortion? Well, you probably already talked about it, but I don't know how your contortion journey started. Was it something that you saw one day and said, "I'd love to do this," or did you take gymnastics, which I wish I did? Imagine what I could do now if I did. What are your briefly? What are your stories?
Sure. All right. Well, very briefly, I first saw my first contortion actor at about 14 years of age. Thought to myself, this was sufficiently weird, and as a bonus, noticed that it happened to be completely freaking out my sister. So immediately I had ammunition. Started training after that. Realised I was terrible at it, but persevered and very slowly built up the skills.
Awesome.
Who's next?
I just like that it's stretching without any limits. You know? So like, okay, now you can touch your toes. You got there. It's like there is, and because it's an art, it's an artistic thing. There is no, you can, you know, it's about being creative. So that's kind of, yeah.
Hi, puppy.
Almost.
Why did you start contortion? Like, when did you discover that you could do this stuff?
I was very young. I was born as flexible as I was. And for a while, I had a real issue even calling myself contortionist. Because when I thought contortion, I thought, oh, okay, it's the circus artists who I see at Circus Soleil who can fold themselves in 3 and have trained for 10 years or however long. You know, you had to go through a ritual. And like I was used to going to school and you come out the other side and now you're a contortionist, right? I was like, well, I don't have the formal training, so I'm just flexible. But people kept calling me a contortionist, so eventually I was like, well, I guess I'm like asterisk or quotation mark contortionist, and now I just roll with it. But there's still a bit of, I'm aware that my entry into discipline is very different than most.
Yeah.
So why are you practicing contortion? You tell your story.
I saw this girl on YouTube called Sophie Dossi, and I got inspired. Yeah, I got
amazing.
Yeah. And after a few videos, I got really inspired, and I started like throwing my back on the couch, like killing myself to do it.
That's amazing.
She trained like for 1 year every day, the whole day here, and I was like, you're gonna injure yourself. And she was like, no, I want to do it, until she did. And then we found your videos as well, and she was like, wow, how can he not be hurt when he falls?
Yeah, flinging yourself at the ground.
Say again?
So the age-old tactic of flinging yourself at the ground.
Well, okay, actually, I'll tell you, the second time I did the America's Got Talent, I did hit my head on the floor, but I pretended that it didn't happen. I hope nobody saw it. I went down a bit too fast. Hopefully, maybe it was caught on camera, maybe it wasn't. But that's the secret that nobody knows.
Just slightly cross-eyed when you're talking to the judges later on. Anyone else got their stories?
I did a similar thing in our show that we did at the Adelaide Fringe this year. There was one where I get tripped over and I fall on my back, and I can usually break fall into that. But I just failed at that, and I fell on the ground and I was winded. And then I had to hold someone up in the air as well. So, but yeah, my entry into contortion, I didn't even know if I'd call myself a contortionist or definitely not. But it was mainly to complement some of the other stuff I do. So I do gymnastics and street workout. So this is another way just to build flexibility and have a good social group.
Yeah. I wish I were in Australia. A contortion collective. It's still pretty niche here. So you have a few, but nothing like the community you guys have. Wow.
It's taken a long time to build it together. If you'd have told me when I started 4 years ago that I'd have as many members as I do, I would not have believed you. So it's been a long journey, but very rewarding.
That's amazing. I'm happy. I'm happy for you all.
Anyone else want to share? Go on, Brenda. I know you want to.
Well, throughout primary school and high school, I always wanted to do some form of gymnastics, something like that. But then got to the point where I thought I was too old. So it wasn't until I turned 18, I think, I gave myself the goal to learn how to do the splits. Before that, I couldn't even touch my toes or anything like that. But then I stretched every single day for at least an hour, and then I learned how to do the splits. And then from there, I wanted to do the split via needle. And so I started training my back flexibility. And then, yeah, I started just stretching, and it just became my thing. And then it wasn't until I started, it was at the Adelaide Fitness Expo, and then Peter was at the Adelaide Fitness Expo. I was supposed to do a calisthenic routine, which is like street workout, but I couldn't do any of that sort of stuff. And so I did a flexible type of routine. And then Peter was like, hey, you should come to Contortion Collective. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I came.
That's amazing. I led the office workout stretch once, and then they didn't allow me to do that again because I learned the hard way. It was supposed to be just kind of, everyone's sitting in their chairs over their computers every day, so we had to do wellness morning stretch. And I was like, okay, everyone, and 3, 2, 1. Anyone?
Today, for beginners.
Swing the miss.
Anyone else?
Sarah?
No, apparently not. All right. So, if anyone wants to keep in contact with you after tonight, what are the best ways to do so?
My handle on social media is Twisty Troy. Instagram, Facebook, same thing. But I'm really bad at social media, so I don't post as often. But I'm around. Those handles, Twisty Troy at Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Cool. Excellent. Well, mate, you have been an absolute legend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
An extra special thanks, given that you had to, we woke you up at 7, well, I imagine 6:30 to make it here on time.
Well, what it's like, when you're afraid to miss a meeting and you stay up all night because you're afraid of waking up late? That's definitely what happened. I was definitely awake 4 hours ago for no reason.
So you're going straight to bed after this, yeah?
Yeah. Well, especially with this pandemic, I've been waking up really late because there's nothing to wake up for. And I tried to go to sleep early for this, and that didn't work because my body was like, you are not ready for sleep. And then I was going to be late because that's the worst thing you could be. It was when you have an exam the next morning and you just stay up all night, just tense. You'd wake up, is it time? Am I late? No, it's only 3 a.m. Now it's 4 a.m. So I'm surprised I'm able to make complete sentences right now.
Actually,
But it's been a pleasure.
Quick question from me personally. As someone who works in the film industry, what's it like to work with Gilmo?
Sorry.
As someone who works in the film industry, what's it like to work with butcher the pronunciation, Guillermo del Toro?
Oh, he is such a nice man. He is like your favorite uncle, he's got a sparkle in his eye, but he's also got a streak of mischief. He is so creative and funny. I'm honored that I got to work with him. I think I went to his exhibit, like before even knowing that we'd ever worked together. He was in Toronto. He had a At Home with Monsters exhibit at the Art Museum, and I went, and it was great. And then fast forward a year later, and we're working on the same set, and he talked to me. Minor starstruck, minorly starstruck.
Well, I think everyone's feeling a little starstruck at the moment. At the moment, we're essentially talking to a Hollywood celebrity here.
Oh no, that's not me.
Not to put a label on you. So no, as I said, I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up here. But again, massive thank you. You're an absolute legend. And
Thank you.
The second you get word that you're coming down to Australia, I will personally fly you to Adelaide and get you in on a class.
If it happens, I will definitely let you know. It's one of my nerd out moment in like grade 4. All of my geography projects, always Australia. It was one of those magical places because it was so far away that I always wanted to go to. I thought, is it a real place? Is it that you have flora and fauna that we don't have? And I finally got to go, and it almost doesn't count because I was barely there. But one day I'll come back and see you all.
All right, we'll make sure we show you all the deadliest creatures.
Awesome.
Here in my room, I can count at least 4 spiders here that'll probably do me in 30 minutes or less.
Oh, jeez. Don't tell me that.
Oh, no, they're friendly. They'll run up for a hug every now and then, but that's about as bad as it gets.
I tell myself I shouldn't be afraid of spiders anymore because I've based my whole routine around them, right?